In their study, Measuring the Translatability of Simplified English and Procedural Documents, Jan H. Spiridakis, Heather Holmbach, and Serena K. Schubert test the effect Simplified English has on the translatability of procedural documents for non-English speakers. The authors operationalized Simplified English as one of several restricted standards that had been developed to reduce ambiguity in technical documents. For example, in Simplified English, start is an appropriate word to use in technical documentation, while words like begin and initiate are too ambiguous or complex. This particular study is actually the second part in a two-part study on Simplified English completed by the authors, in which they seek to provide empirical evidence for claims that the use of Simplified English in technical documents improves readability. In the initial study, the authors determined that Simplified English does improve reading comprehension of highly complex aircraft maintenance documents for native English speakers. The second part of the study extends the research on the translatability of Simplified English to Spanish, Chinese, and Japanese speakers. The authors state three goals for their research: investigate whether or not the use of simplified English in procedural documents improves translatability in comparison to non-simplified English documents, evaluate how document complexity factors into translatability, and determine the differences, if any, in translation quality of different languages. The authors define translatability as the quality and ease of translation. For this study, the authors choose subjects who speak Chinese, Spanish, or Japanese as their native language. All of the subjects were university students, as the authors thought that they would be more representative of novice translators. All of the subjects were also similar in number of years of education, number of years living in the U.S., and number of years of English instruction. The subjects in the study were not chosen at random. Rather, the subjects were solicited through an ad placed by the authors and through word of mouth or the internet. In order to test the effects of simplified English on the translatability of technical documents for non-English speakers, the authors employed a two-step process. First, the subjects were asked to translate one of four procedural documents, simplified English and non-simplified English versions of both Procedure A and Procedure B. Then the authors had a group of raters assess the subject's translation on several criteria: accuracy of translation, style match with the original document, ease of comprehension, number of major and minor mistranslations, and a number of major and minor omissions. The authors divided their results into three categories: languages combined, Spanish translations, and Chinese translations. The small size of Japanese speakers forced the authors to exclude them from the same statistical analysis completed for Spanish and Chinese speakers, but their data is included in the languages combined section. The authors concluded that, in certain cases, using simplified English as a source language improves the quality and the ease of translations. Spanish speakers showed a significant difference in ratings on four measures. They scored higher in accuracy, style match, and comprehensibility, and had fewer minor mistranslations when translating from simplified English than non-simplified English. Chinese speakers showed no significant differences in translation of simplified English and non-simplified English documents. The authors suggest that the reason for Spanish speakers having more differences in their translations of simplified English documents might be because Spanish has more linguistic similarities to English as a language than Chinese. One strength of this study is its consistent setting and procedure. Experimental research requires that some variables of the experiment, the control variables, be held constant. In this study, all of the subjects were subjected to the same setting and procedure. In addition, the subject's level of experience with English was also consistent. Another strength of this study is its inter-rater reliability. The study employed raters to assess the translations in order to minimize bias. While there are some strengths to this study, there are also quite a few issues. While quasi-experiments allow for research where random selections of subjects is difficult, researchers must take care to look for threats to validity. The authors of this study chose college students without taking into account their level of literacy in their own native language or their personal experience with technical documents. Also, the researchers failed to select enough subjects to represent Japanese speakers. The study only included 6 subjects who spoke Japanese as a native language.